get it.
What is going on, awesome superhero aficionados? This is the Heroes of Mutants podcast. I'm Nick with my co-hosts Jimmy and Ruben. Unfortunately, Eric couldn't be with us today, but we have a very special guest today. Thanks so much, and give a friendly welcome to Adam. We had actually Adam on as a special guest a little while ago, but that was a minute ago. So just for a refresher, Adam, why don't you tell the viewers at home who your favorite superhero is and why?
Spider-Man. Just Spider-Man, just because everyone can relate to the guy. He's a broke college kid. We've all been there, and he still had these crazy responsibilities he had to do, and I know everyone can kind of relate in their own way to those crazy battles that we have to do. So yeah, that's why he's my favorite superhero.
Yeah, definitely. Always a good choice, especially, one of the greatest superheroes of all time, for sure, and comic book characters. But by that being said, let's get started today. So there's been interesting development, and it's something that I theorized first. Well, I don't know if I theorized first, but I'm just just because I said it, and I just want the credit for it because of it being an amazing introspective analysis that turned out to be true. But the Thunderbolts movie is in the works at Marvel Studios with Jake Schreier attached to direct. He doesn't have a whole lot of list of credits. He's directed a lot of music videos. He did Frank and Robot in 2012 with Frank Langella. So that, and he's done a lot of TV. So interesting choice for a director. He directed Paper Towns in 2015 also. So interesting choice.
That's right on now.
Yeah. So, and Black Widow screenwriter Eric Pearson is going to be penning the script, and obviously Kevin Feige is going to be producing. So we don't exactly know the kind of characters that they can use, but there's a whole lot of options that they have, including Zemo, Yelena, Ghost, Taskmaster, the Abomination, U.S. Agent, and the Winter Soldier. Unfortunately, I don't think that, even though given the namesake Thunderbolts, I don't think Thunderbolt Ross is going to be appearing because William Hurt tragically recently passed away. So that option of the Red Hulk being into it might not be around. Maybe unless they bring back Sam Elliott from Ang Lee Hulk in the early 2000s, which I don't really exactly know if that's really going to be on the table. But
the MCU has a good way of kind of making these kind of things work. So I trust Feige. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Zemo also in the comics, he's gotten the team together. In the original run, it definitely was obviously General Ross, but Zemo can also be the one spearheading everything, and just given how calculating and how smart of a person he really is in the MCU, we've seen what he's capable of. It wouldn't really be too much of a stretch to say that he would be able to get people together, or the government wouldn't recruit him. We've seen Lady Hydra already, so maybe she can be the one kind of bringing them all in some way. I was hoping maybe Dark Avengers, but Thunderbolts obviously was on the table for them to do too. So this is exciting news. Can't wait to see it. It's going to be awesome. And something that I didn't know that actually one of you guys had to tell me was that there was a bunch of reported cameos and deleted scenes in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Some of these include Mordo of Earth 616 approaching Wanda with the intent of killing her, but Wanda easily killing him, and that would have set the tone for how powerful Wanda is and what she's willing to do, the lengths that she's willing to go. The Illuminati deciding to lobotomize Wanda of their world, but having to consult her father, which would have revealed that Magneto was her father, played by Michael Fassbender. And Ghost Rider facing off against Wanda with Ghost Rider being killed. Do you guys wish that any of these scenes made it into the final cut, or were they justifiably left out and didn't need to be there?
I kind of would have liked to have seen them. Again, I was one of the few people that was happy with the movie. I kind of would have liked to have seen them. I wanted to say something now, and Eric's not on the podcast, but he said this last week, that a reason he compared this movie to Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is another independent multiverse movie. I just saw that recently, and had I seen that first, I actually probably would have been a little bit harsher on Doctor Strange, because that's an independent movie. It has nothing to do with comics, and they did a much more a real exploration of multiverses. Like Multiverse of Madness would have been a better title for that movie than it would for the Doctor Strange movie. So I think in order just to make it live up to its title, they probably should have added some stuff like that.
Not only that, but the action is top notch. I actually know the guys who were involved with the action coordinating. that were in the movie. So that,
Oh, okay.
like, I know, speaking from like that Hong Kong's perspective, I'm always talking about that's like the pinnacle of action design and where movies strives to. We obviously saw a little bit of that with Shang-Chi too. So definitely from that perspective too, with all of the multiverse aspect from an action perspective, it is just killing it. And I haven't seen that yet, so we'll see when I see that.
But
My
it's
perspective is probably going to be hard, like what you had said. It's going to be harsher, and I'm going to be criticizing Multiverse of Madness more.
It's a low-budget, independent film that explores the idea of a multiverse more than the big
that was one of my big things for Multiverse of Madness. I thought it was going to be like it was going to go kind of everywhere, but it went to like what three universes.
Like, technically two, really.
Right? So it stayed super tight knit. When my perception was it was gonna be like a bunch of different stuff going on, but what we got. I enjoyed the movie either way.
Well, what do you feel? Do you feel like it would have been cool to have these cameos, or do you feel like they left out?
I would have loved to see all that stuff going on, just for the fans to know, like, oh, this is actually going on. Oh, this is going on. You know, that would have been cool.
Kind of little callbacks and stuff. Cool. What about you, Ruben?
Well, for me, I mean, it would have been cool to see them, but not in the way they were, they heard you explained it going on. But from what I know, I don't know if it was deleted scenes or not. Because I also heard that they were doing stand-ins, so it wasn't the main it wasn't the main actors playing the role that were gonna play the role if they reprised it, but they were just fill-ins. So what they did was like they rolled out, like what I read, right, was that they wrote out like scripts and they had fill-ins play who would have been, right? Depending on the actor, whether it would have been Magneto, right? Talking about Magneto, I'll just say Magneto for one example, where they just wrote a script, they did the fill-in, and to see if it was something that would have fit in the movie. I felt like it wasn't as necessary, because if that was the way they were going to play it, I was like, oh, it would have been a sorry-ass introduction, in my opinion. I want to see something more, or at least give me a little teaser, not something like where you can introduce them and then die right away like they already did instantly with the Illuminati and Doctor Strange. Like, I was like, it was crazy how it was instant.
Definitely.
I was like, I wouldn't have liked it if it was like a major villain like Magneto, if that were to happen to him. But I know it wasn't to him. It would have been to it was Mordo. Mordo. But yeah, I was like, I felt like it would have been too forced, those little scripts, if they would have made it played out.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, you could be right. Maybe they had a version of it cut like that, and maybe it didn't play well, and maybe it did come across forced when you see it all together, because it's shorter than most Marvel movies are. Like, they could have afforded to make it longer, but it is possible that Sam Raimi tried it, looked at it, and said, I don't know if this really goes with the movie that well.
Especially just because, I mean, I think one of the main things too Eric had brought up was that it felt self-contained into its own universe, and maybe that was one of the things where people felt it was a letdown, or they were disappointed, was because they were expecting all these other things that Adam had touched upon, that where they wanted even more of a look into the other multiverse, well, more so because it was in the namesake, Multiverse of Madness. And I think with those kind of things, and that Sam Raimi is somebody who is dead set on the story that he's telling, and he doesn't really seem to really care so much about the other things in the outside universe. It seems like we're focused on this story, and a lot of those other things would have been hinting at a larger universe at play, or even stuff like a Michael Fassbender cameo would have been maybe a little bit too much, or a little bit, do we exactly need to have this in this story?
Yeah, the only way they only touched on that, in my opinion, was with Wanda, where obviously she was using the Darkhold to take over the other Wanda's bodies, in that world to do what she had to do. So I feel like that was the only aspect where I felt like that was real multiple versions, where I'm doing something here and there in another world, Yeah. But other than that, I felt like they could have touched on him. I feel like I would have rather seen that more than introduce more, major characters in the movie.
I mean, I'm just disappointed from the bottom of my heart, because I was really looking forward to see Nicolas Cage suit up as Ghost Rider again, and seeing him pulling off the amazing acting talent that he has, and how awesome that would have been. I'm just like, that's something I really would have been awed to see again, and I was really looking forward to it. And it just sucks to hear this, that it was maybe something possibly planned. Well, we don't know if it was going to be Johnny Blaze, or maybe it could have been Robbie Reyes. I don't know, but that's more what I was looking forward to, and I'm just sad we're never going to see that ever again. And I'm totally not joking.
Well, these characters could still be introduced, though. You never know.
Yeah. And I think that's the interesting, too, about everything, and just with the whole aspect of the multiverse, even though obviously we saw the Illuminati and Reed Richards and a lot of these characters, Black Bolt, we saw them all die and get massacred very easily by Scarlet Witch. But that obviously doesn't mean, we know that the X-Men are coming. We know the Fantastic Four are coming. So that's something like,
we also
variants of.
We also know, I'm sorry to cut you off. We also know that the multiverse of madness is going to be one of the main themes of all the movies going forward. So we still have a lot of chances to.
Yeah, especially with Kang coming in. Obviously, Kang is a time traveler. So
exactly. So we still have a lot of chances to get our little like appetite filled of, oh look, they did do this, or this is what I wanted to see. I'm sure someone's gonna get because there's so many people have so many different like storylines that they love. I'm sure someone's gonna see it like, oh, they did it. They put it in the movie.
What if I remember? You know what? One aspect I do want to bring up though. Remember how at the end of Loki, we had that when we find out who Kang really was. You know how we had that moment where like, oh, there's a break and whatever. What if it wasn't the Wanda show and he was talking about this Doctor Strange shit? We're like, okay, these multiverses are starting to open up. Or am I reaching? Well,
I mean, we don't exactly know the timeline of when things developed or like when Loki exactly took place. I know it was hinting like that was supposed to be like WandaVision, and then Kevin Feige had tried to say that what happened in Loki was what transpired, like the spell to go wrong. So there's a lot of things that I'm just confused on, and I'm like taking with a grain of salt.
I'm gonna go with what you're saying how we're that. I mean, it makes sense, and then that's where everything starts kind of branching out, because it made it the way, if you watch everything, like it made it seem like that was what's going on, right?
Exactly. That was what happened.
And then the stuff started going crazy, and then that's when WandaVision is happening, and then everything kind of takes.
Yeah, and then Loki, and then No Way Home. It's like I don't exactly know what to think. I take all of that with a grain of salt, just because anything can happen in the future. With it could be retcon and say, oh, well, it was because of this, or it was. Yeah. So I don't really know what to make of it all, honestly.
Very true.
Moving on from that, some interesting comic book news. Kevin Conroy, long-running voice actor for Batman across multiple media outlets, wrote a DC story for DC Pride 2022 called Finding Batman, relating to his experiences as a gay man. DC Pride Month 2022 is a 104-page anthology comic featuring stories from LGBTQ creators and focusing on queer characters from the DC universe. The first launch was last year, and because of overwhelming success, DC decided to go bigger this year in the terms of a writer who was covering this event said to go gayer also. So it's pretty cool. Representation is there, and telling stories that matter from perspectives of people who are living those kind of lives and with those experiences, I think is really cool. And the fact that we have somebody like Kevin Conroy, who is an icon and a legend in this industry, especially amongst Batman fans, but amongst comic book fans also. This is really cool that he was able to pen his own. This is pretty similar to like also with Danny DeVito. He wrote a Penguin story in celebration of 80 years of Batman's Rogues Gallery last year. So it's pretty cool that these people who are such icons and legends in this industry that we love are writing their own comic book stories. I think that's so cool and really, really awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah,
to be honest, I was actually surprised. I didn't know Kevin Conroy was gay until
because he didn't reveal. Like, last time that I had checked, it was like he had said was revealed that he was married with a child, but then around 2016 was when he just said in an interview nonchalantly, "Oh, well, I did this play relating to my experiences because as a gay man living in the 80s at the height of the AIDS epidemic, that was something where I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. It was something like he was keeping hidden, but I don't exactly know at what point like it was but that was it where he fully revealed it. So it's cool that representation is happening, and it's cool that these artists and that these creators have these chances to tell these stories and tell these kind of experiences and relate to things that they know.
They have something in it. That's what I like.
I mean, dude, the guy's the definitive Batman. I mean,
without a doubt.
As far as like voices, if I hear Batman's voice, as far as I'm concerned, it is Kevin Conroy's voice.
Yeah,
there.
for
Right
sure.
there.
He's the version. So I mean, cool. I'm happy for him.
Well, no,
Definitely.
that's cool. I think that's pretty awesome because, like I said, I'm probably the biggest comic collector out of us here. So I think that's pretty cool because, like you said, Nick came out last year, 2021, and it was a hit, like you said. So why not bring out that's right, the OG Batman right there. So why not bring out the second round this year and not make it, like you said, why not deep in a little dive? Why not express, these characters a little more? We're already in, it's 2022, man. People got to keep up with the times or change with the times. If you don't evolve, then you're staying behind.
Mhm.
So and it's not only that, it's just about reading, just the stories alone. Like they're cool to read. These are cool characters, whether
Mhm.
you see them that way or not. And like shows, movies, they're expressing that. Yeah, other continents, countries might be against it still because religion wise, but they need to start moving forward with the times because I feel like, bro, like don't. This is something where everyone is equal, dog. Straight up, you had to treat everyone equal. People gotta express themselves, and like for the Batman original voice act, it's like he's back then he couldn't express himself the way he probably wanted to, because the times being the times they were. Like I said, 2022, he's going all in, and hell yeah, dude, I'm all for it. Like,
Not only that, but also when you're known for voicing a character like Batman, who I would say is probably at the pinnacle of masculinity and machismo, that definitely when you said, well, oh, this is Kevin Conroy, he's gay, like that would be something too back in the day that might have drawn ear or that might have given him weird looks like, oh wait, this guy can't be Batman. And now we look at it and we say, well, it doesn't matter, this guy's Batman without a doubt. Like there's no question about it. Like
and that's just the thing. It just shows that anybody could play these characters. It doesn't matter. It's a role. It's a role.
Yeah, a great job. Yeah,
and nobody has like done the Batman voice as good as Kevin Conroy. So
yeah. Especially when you think of just the legacy, the
Batman.
Impact, and how long he's voiced this character. If there's anybody who's paid his dues, deserves to respect, it's freaking Kevin Conroy, without a freaking doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Most definitely.
For sure.
It's cool that he has this opportunity. I'll probably check. I think I'm going to check it out. So even though it's not my thing and that's not something I can relate to, but just the fact is Kevin Conroy, and to read other stories and other experiences that aren't my own, it just sounds like an interesting concept. So awesome to hear. Moving on from that, some of the most exciting news in development recently is we got our first look at Jolo Maradona in the Blue Beetle costume. And it looks freaking awesome. It looks like it jumped off of the panels of a comic book.
Yeah.
Very impressive how practical it looks before any CGI. Do you guys like what you see so far, and will it translate well to the big screen?
Oh, for sure. I saw the costumes and I was like, okay, the costume looks good. That's a good sign. And then I'm a fan of him on karate on
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, he does great there. And I know he's young and charismatic, so I think he's gonna nail it. He's gonna knock it out the park for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do like the costume. It's really, I really felt like it's real life version of the comic book, So I was like, it's out there. We haven't seen much, So just from the costume alone, that's what I'm going based off. They have one thing right, because I know normally I complain about, oh well, that's not the right look, Yeah, you want it to look as much as the comic as possible, at least my opinion. So I like it. I like the way he looks. We haven't seen much, but I have hope for it. I'm excited for it. Like Adam was saying, perfect actor for it. He killed it in Cobra Kai. I think he's gonna kill it on this one too.
What do you think, Jimmy?
I think it looks really cool. I think that's a good live action version of it. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely.
It looks really
cool. I think the thing for me that really stuck out is just how detailed the suit is, like around the black in between like his core and before like the blue in the legs. A lot of that looks very Alien in origin, which is crazy to see, like the practicality of the suit in that they didn't rely. I thought it was going to involve heavy CGI, something like Cyborg or even like the Spider-Man suits have heavy CGI where they just have like a CGI suit on Tom Holland and the stunt actors. But the fact that they went 100% practical, we can see it in natural lighting and we can see it how it looks in real life, I think is just really cool. And it really just goes to show the fact of you need to strive for practicality as much as possible. Obviously, with a character like this who has an alien scarab that attaches to his body and that can just create a mask for him, and it's not something that it's kind of more reminiscent of like a symbiote in a way, I guess. Not fully, but in a way, in a easy way to describe it. I think it looks awesome, and I can't wait to see. I think the wings are like the things on the top right here is probably going to be CGI because we haven't seen that in any of the shots. So I think that's the only thing where it's going to be CG. Maybe they're going to enhance the suit a little bit with his eyes too. But overall, this looks really awesome, and I just really can't wait for this film. Zolo Merdwin is a great actor. Obviously, Cobra Kai, like Adam said, very charismatic. Someone who's going to knock it out of the park. And when you heard that casting, you're like, this guy is just perfect. He was built for this role. Jaime Reyes is an awesome character. And I think the thing, too, where I was more blown away by was in the concept art that they revealed for Blue Beetle to the actual live suit. It looks pretty reminiscent. It looks very, very similar to what they were going for. And the fact that there's that, I know we talk a lot about, this suit sucks because it's not comic accurate, or, oh, that suit isn't that bad even though it's not comic accurate. But when you see something like this to where it's 100% faithful and looks like it does in the comics and all of the other media, you just got to give it immediate respect, because at least they're going with that in mind and that mentality of, we're going to try to make it as close to the comics as we can, as close to the source material, pay homage, pay respect, because without it, we wouldn't be able to make a live action film about this. So overall, I think it looks awesome, and I can't wait to see more.
Most definitely.
Last but not least, we got our first full trailer for Black Adam. It felt pretty tame. Like WB was holding back the money shots, but it was cool to see Black Adam and the Justice Society of America in action. Does this give you faith in Dwayne Johnson repeatedly reiterating the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change with this film?
I don't know. I don't think he really brings anything different to the table than what Shazam is. I mean, Shazam is the same movie, but except it's a fucking kid.
We have to wait till the movie to see, because he's really pushing it and hyping up. And I mean, that's a good thing. You want your stars to be confident in what they're doing and what they're making.
But
as much as the powers, I'm I don't know. I can't. I mean, you still have, as far as we know, Superman is still part of that of the movie universe, right? And then we have Shazam, who's also there. It's I don't know if that was he's for sure hyping it up more than what I expect it to be. I mean, it looks like the trailers make it look like a good movie, but of course, I felt like the WB's holding some, important storytelling. I mean, which is good. No, you don't want to give everything away in the trailer, but yeah.
What about you, Ruben?
For me, I ain't gonna lie. I like the trailer. I have a couple of questions where I'm questioning it, where it's okay, is this I understand the whole revenge part of his family, where okay, I'm just starting to killing bad guys for the better good. I mean, freaking Punisher. It reminds me of Punisher in a way, Punisher kills. He doesn't mind if they deserve to die, they deserve to die. So I understand that aspect. So I like the trailer. I still have a couple questions. I want to see how dark it really is or isn't going to be. But I do believe him in his word, where I do think he's going to be he's trying, obviously, him, he likes the freaking attention, and there's nothing wrong when you have that confidence. But when you're going to attract that confidence, you better fucking prove it. You better back that shit up. I want to see something. And he said, hey, we hear the fans. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to, all right, homie, well, if you hear it, I want you to make it happen.
You know why you're right, Ruben? Because we've already shown, and I know this is a completely different example, but if Doctor Strange and I like that movie, again, to reiterate, I really like it, but if Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has taught us anything, that if fans get hyped up and it's not what they hype it up to be, there's going to be a backlash, and it's going to hurt your movie in the long run. So you're right. I hope that the movie actually backs up everything, because it's good to get hyped up about it, but you don't want to oversell what you're doing.
Yeah, so I do believe Warner Brothers is with Nick, where you're saying Warner Brothers and Adam, where Warner Brothers is holding back on those money shots. Because every other movie would definitely give you those 2.5 minutes worth of a trailer. But I felt like him, it didn't show much. So I'm okay, that's why I have a couple of questions about, I'm questioning it a little bit, but I still believe in the word where he's trying to take the, how do you call it? The
hierarchy.
The hierarchy. There you go. He's trying to take that top dog.
I want to see how much it relates to the rest of the DC EU.
But no, see, that's the thing. That's what I know. Shazam is gonna be in that same universe as Black Adam because I know they're gonna collide for sure. I already heard rumors a couple years. I believe in those rumors, but I think the reason why is because DC has messed up so many times, so many flaws. I would say they always gotta rewrite a different story, reintroduce the character in a different way. If Dwayne Johnson's character doesn't have to do that, he could not own DC, but he could own the hierarchy I'm talking about where, hey, you know what? I'm the one that's I'm gonna make it, revolve around my universe. And if you guys keep messing up, that's what I believe he may or may not do.
What about you, Jimmy?
I agree with Ruben that I don't really see this upsetting the hierarchy of the power in the DC universe the way that he says it is. Maybe I could be wrong, but I just hope it's not overhyped with what he's trying to sell.
Well, Ben Affleck just got a new contract too. He's coming back as Batman.
Yeah. He's probably going to come back. It's not for sure, but they're offering him $33 million.
Oh, please.
Yes, I think I had seen a meme about that. I didn't know if it was actually true, though, or if it was just BS.
It's not confirmed. He hasn't accepted anything, but they are courting him. They want to
I'd love to see him come back. Fuck yeah.
So they want to keep, they're really going to go for that multiverse thing by having Michael Keaton's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman exist in that universe.
They're like, who do we want to follow, Dwayne? Or do we want Ben to come back and follow? Because Ben's a director too,
Put them together, man. Put them together.
Either way,
they got it.
Yeah, either way, we don't really have a choice in picking because Dwayne is part of it. Period. Is part of it.
Well, I guess they are kind of part of it already, then, huh?
And he's already talked about being involved with this for the long haul. He had talked about 10 plus years and so being involved in this universe. So given his work ethic and how long he's waited to get this character off the ground, get the story told, because I've reassured so many times that he's been attached to this project since 2010. So the fact is taking 12 years to fully get this project realized that
we gotta trust him. We have to trust him.
Exactly. So it's hard to say because whether the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is going to change. It can. I'm very optimistic this is going to be a good film, and I do think it's going to also give people that reassurance that DC, Warner Brothers is on the right track. But to the level of this where that's become the slogan of this movie and the slogan for this character, I don't exactly know how that's going to mash up. But everything that I've seen so far looks pretty good. The costumes for the JSA look good. They all are perfectly cast. I mean, come on. You got freaking 007 as Dr. Fate. And it looks like he was ripped off the comic book too. How awesome does he freaking look?
Bro, Hawkman looks better.
Hawkman looks so cool.
Hawkman.
And I think there was a deliberate action on their part to hold back a lot of those money shots. I actually thought we were going to be seeing a little bit more. We didn't even get to see the villain. We know the Injustice Gang is going to be involved. They have technology from Apocalypse. I think there was going to be another villain named Sabak, who is the Shazam Black Adam villain. But we just don't exactly know so much about the plot and what's going to happen, who's going to be appearing. I think there's going to be a lot of secrets and a lot that they're keeping under the wraps until a film comes out. But I definitely think that this has a high opportunity and chance to unbalance the hierarchy of power. But with all that being said, is there really a lot of hierarchy of power in the DC universe besides Aquaman at this point? Maybe if this was Marvel, that would definitely...
That would be
that kind of saying, or that could actually mean something. But here, I'm like, I don't.
Superman is still alive in this.
Superman.
So just sort of hierarchy power in the extended universe, right? So, Superman is still alive, so I'm assuming he's.
Well, more so, I think he's also talking about it from a character perspective, but we don't exactly Henry Cavill doesn't have any contract to appear again, or he doesn't have anything written in stone or in letters about him coming back. So we don't even know if he's going to be in the future at all. We just know it's going to be Dwayne. It's going to be The Rock. It's gonna be Aquaman, Shazam, and
I
that.
get what you're saying.
I don't even know what's gonna go on with the Flash, honestly.
Yeah, Ezra's fucking. He's out there running amok.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Overall, though, this is gonna be a good film. I can't wait for it. It's a bit of a stretch to say that. It would have to be just something that's gonna be generation changing. Our people talking about they've had a crazy experience seeing Black Adam that was unlike any other. I don't know if I see that happening with everything that I have seen and a lot that I like that this film is doing. So,
or they don't have any like what the fuck moments like Marvel does. They've never had any like standout
That's
moments.
what I'm saying is up for grab. Whatever, like I said, Aquaman, it's up there. He's hasn't messed up, so obviously he's gonna be Wonder Woman. I don't know. I feel
the first one was good. Second one was mid.
yeah, it was not good. It was not good at all.
so.
I think the matter of just with Warner Brothers.
I didn't hate the Wonder Woman, the second Wonder Woman movie, but there is one part of it that blows my mind that made it into it, and it's the fact that Wonder Woman was raping some dude through the whole movie. If you really think about it, that guy was unconscious. He was not aware.
The weird thing is,
tell us what you mean by that.
He looks like Steve to us, but to her, does he just look like that Hallmark guy?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's a very. I don't know, man. If I'm just, all I'm saying is if it were a male character, a male superhero doing that to there would be a lot more attention called to it. I didn't dislike the movie. I just thought that was the most bizarre choice in the world that they could have come up with, and I'm just surprised. Like literally nobody at Warner Brothers or anybody said like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Like
apparently it's because of Patty Jenkins' pedigree and all the success that she had with that first Wonder Woman movie, where they were just like, "Okay, we trust you. Take your ideas, do crazy stuff with it." Apparently, but they didn't say don't go too crazy. Obviously,
okay.
Black Adam looks awesome. We will have to wait around Halloween time to see it, but I guess we'll see if the hierarchy of power is about to change in the DC universe or in the comic book film universe. We'll see about that too. And so with this week, we had the premiere of a new show. Well, two shows, but I mean, we're going to get to the other one later because I haven't seen everything of it. Most of us haven't. But this show is starting anew with new characters and a new setting. The first episode of Miss Marvel. So I actually was pretty blown away by it. I won't say blown away, but I rank it pretty highly amongst the first episodes of a lot of these Disney Plus Marvel shows. And it definitely did a good job setting up Kamala's character, background, personality, and insights into who she is. And I even think from the very beginning, there was a lot of foreshadowing. Well, we saw this in the trailer too, because obviously in the trailer, the song was Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. And I found it to actually be a metaphor for the series as a whole. Because obviously, I don't know if you guys had seen this, and maybe you guys didn't know that it was deliberate, but there was a lot of blinding lens flares of a purple color that obviously was relating to her cosmic powers. Not only that, but the strange realm that she goes to also, and it's exactly blinding lights that triggers her powers also. It also serves as a reminder that Kamala is blinded by her powers, both in how awesome they are and the responsibilities of being a hero. So I thought that was pretty cool. A lot of foreshadowing for everything going on. And it turns out the directors of this episode, they're a duo, Adil and Balil. Sorry if I'm butchering your guys' name. Very talented you guys. They're actually also going to be directing the Batgirl movie. So pretty cool. They're working for Marvel and Warner Brothers at the same time. But they had said that they were really inspired by Into the Spider-Verse. And that actually was a callback to the opening credits where it flashes through Kamala's art. And I thought that was pretty cool. And one of the more interesting things about that too was there was a comic cover drawn by her that shows that has the company, the publishing company, as Jersey City Comics and approved by the KK code. The KK, obviously that's the comic ethics code, but that's obviously meant to be Kamala Khan. So I thought that was a little cool. What did you guys think overall about this series? Did you guys like it? Is this a good setup for this character? And where does this rank amongst the first episodes of these Marvel Disney Plus shows for you?
Okay, so It's probably one of the better pilot episodes of the Marvel things, and I'm a little surprised by that.
Very.
I do have to give a couple of reservations, and this is not to just discredit the show. This is just more of a me thing than it is the show. I don't feel like I am the target audience for this particular show. It has more of a tweenish vibe than most of what the Marvel shows have.
What about like the very beginning, the fact of her being a super fan and attending cons and everything, just being did you not relate to it from that passionate fan perspective?
I kind of thought that was funny, and I like it because it shows it almost makes it like our world, because we have those conventions on our own world. So it's funny to think that in the universe where this exists, they
have cat cons. You would think that now in the MCU they would have Adventure Con. Like that's very plausible and believable.
It totally makes sense. But and like I said, like some of my criticisms I have of it are not really criticisms. It's just I don't know if I'm the target audience.
Out of touch a little bit.
What happened?
Out of touch a little bit about what she's like, the stuff that she's or like.
I don't know. It's not as relatable to me, but I don't think that doesn't mean that I don't think it's good. I actually thought it was really creative. Some of it was actually funny. I like.
You're not a daydreamer, Jimmy?
What happened?
You're not a daydreamer?
I guess I'm a daydreamer sometimes. Yeah, I'm a daydreamer. But yeah, but I thought it was really cool. I thought it was very well directed. It definitely feels different from most Marvel shows that we get. And I do think it's interesting that they explore it from more of a fan perspective, because it makes it a little bit more relatable to our world in a way. And in fact, it's probably for a lot of young people who look up and idolize a lot of superheroes, she's probably going to be a little bit more relatable than the average one, because it's going to be relatable to people who go to conventions and idolize and want to grow up to be just like their heroes. So I think it has a good message, and I like the way that it's directed. I like all the artwork that happens and the way
that was so cool. Very cool.
I love the creativity in that. It's freaking awesome, bro.
So, like the cinematography and all that is actually really cool, and I think they're doing a good job with like the creative concepts behind it.
Yeah.
And
even like that shot of where her and Bruno are just going for a stroll in the neighborhood or going home. Just how can we be creative with this? How can we tell this story? Not only do it visually awesome, but also from the perspective of Kamala. I think that's the thing that I really appreciate that the show did. Like everything was from her perspective, and you get that first view lens from her, which is very, very cool, and a lot of creative stuff on telling it from that perspective.
And yeah, I like that. And like when they're walking by the graffiti, you see the graffiti come to life in ways that she would imagine it coming to life. So yeah. I thought that like just the direction in the show and the visual style was very imaginative. And I think in a way it's a good thing. It seems like they're trying to separate themselves from the other MCU shows by giving this a completely different vibe. And I think all of those shows have their own like individual flavor, but this one feels like the most apart from any of the MCU shows so far.
Mm.
Now I ain't gonna lie, the thing I loved about it the most was all the creativity, the way all the concept was put out there. Like when Kamala and her friend were just texting, right? Mm-hmm. And you can see the emojis on the sidewalk or the writing on the wall and all that. You know, I was like, hey, that's freaking smart. But not only that, I like it. I think this is the female version of a young Spider-Man, where they're in high school and there's these, teenage girls where they have big dreams and shit. Obviously she's dreaming to be a superhero. I mean, we all probably wanted to be a superhero, but she's actually daydreaming about like being a superhero, So, and they say you what is that? You are what you think, you are what you believe, or whatever. She literally brought that to life and shit. But no, I just feel like it's awesome because like for the reason where like Adam says, people could relate to Spider-Man, right? I think some girls could relate to her. A lot of girls want to, like I said, they're gonna dream, have big dreams, and it's one of those things where, like I said, there's daydreamers. People, we lose.
We're freaking daydreamers.
Yeah. We lose track. People like, hey, are you okay? Like, where's your mind at? So I feel like it's pretty awesome. Like I could relate to her in that concept where I'm like, hey, I'm a daydreamer. Like there's times where like I'll be talking to you, I could hear you, but I'm thinking about something else in my mind.
I think. Oh yeah, I want to say something. I think one thing that a lot of people are going to find relatable, and this is different for me because I'm Mexican, but I'm like 4th, 5th generation at this point. So at this point, I'm pretty Americanized. I have friends who's like who are first generation, and I've seen the type of strictness that comes with that, with the parents not understanding or the parents thinking that some fun geeky convention is like some dangerous scary party. So I think a lot of kids are going to be able to relate to having parents that don't quite get what it is to be young and to be young in this country, and to not understand
and
that you're not actually doing
that's
dangerous
all
things.
of it. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Oh, well, that I know are first generation, and then that's like growing up. My family was strict on what I could wear or like how I could talk. And like in the show, when she's too embarrassed to show her actual costume, and I was looking, I was like, that's not even like a revealing costume. Like I let
it's
my
not that
daughter
bad at all.
like I let my daughter go out and wear that. That's fine. But there are parents that are super strict about these kind of things, and I think
That's
that's
what I was
the
gonna
whole
bring
draw
up
about the
next.
character.
I like how they touched on, their background, where she came up from, the religion her parents believe, what she's growing up to be. So
a
I feel like
lot of the sayings and everything too.
yeah, exactly. So I was like everything it touched on, and like I said, this just gives hope to every other little girl around the world. Like it doesn't matter where you come from, you can still become what you really want to become in life if you work for it. I mean, in this movie, she didn't work for it; she just put on a bracelet. But
because
you know what I mean, though. You know what I mean.
I actually disagree with Jimmy in that I obviously not saying that you're wrong or anything like that, because obviously you're not. But I fully related to this character.
Okay, that's fair.
Like
enough.
her being a super fan, and her, I think just because of that whole aspect of you're living in the clouds, you're living in the fantasy, you need to come back to reality. You need to focus on the things that are actually important and integral to you becoming everything that you are and actually fulfilling the potential that you have, instead of just it. Even she has those moments of doubt too, and those moments of clarity. Like, I know that this is kiddie and that this is childish, but I still want to do it anyway. And I think a lot of that was stuff that I related to, because that I had such an overactive imagination as a kid. And I was obsessed with Spider-Man, and I wanted to be Spider-Man. I would even have conversations and discussions with my friends, like realistically, how would we be able to find a radioactive spider? Would it kill us? Would we be able to manifest powers like Spider-Man? Like there was like that little thing. So honestly, I really related to that character from that aspect. Obviously, I'm not a 16-year-old Pakistani Muslim girl. At least I don't think. I mean, unless I look like that to you guys, but I'm just kidding. But
I do think that there's aspects of this, as far as like, especially with how she thinks that are relatable. And again, this could be what you just said. That could just be me out of touch. It just seemed
exactly.
I think I just need to adjust to it, because I know that Spider-Man is in high school, and this could just be a personal thing too. But these high schoolers struck me as more kiddish than they come across in some of the other Marvel and other things that you see in the MCU. Some of the younger, they seem a little bit younger. They almost remind me a little bit more of middle school kids. Again,
I didn't think that, honestly, but
okay. That's just me. That's just the impression I got off.
Why Jimmy saying all this, and watch when this ends, he's gonna go throw on his Batman cape and mask.
Oh, I will. Oh no, trust me, I will. I have a Batman cape and mask. So.
No, I get you about. I was thinking the difference. Like, what's the difference between Kamala and like Peter Parker? When we first saw Peter, he was compared to how we first see her. She does seem a little more like young, not as mature as Peter does. Yeah. When we also, Peter had already been Spider-Man for about a good half a year at this point, and we're finding out she's barely getting her powers right now. Peter could have been the same kid, just daydreaming, and then he was always obviously super smart, because that wasn't a factor. But he could have been the same way she was until she got the powers, and then he had to like, oh, okay, now I have to be, I don't know, but yeah, we're seeing Peter in a different.
You're right.
In his career, and then she's just getting her powers,
Yeah.
No, you guys.
She definitely feels more relatable in the sense of also Peter, but in respects to Kate Bishop, she definitely feels 100% more relatable. I think that's more so because Kate is part of that 1% and comes from a very wealthy, privileged background. Not that I'm saying obviously there's nothing wrong with that, but just more so this is more of like a ground level kind of look at a normal teenager. as
Mhm.
opposed to Kate, who was part of the upper echelons of society.
True.
True.
No, you
I
guys
think
are right.
the-
You're making me regret what I said. I need to reconsider.
No, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just more for me. Like, I
Well,
felt
we do
like
this.
this
This is why
was
we
probably one of the
debate
most
and we like,
relatable.
you know, we
This is
sway
probably one of
people
the.
over.
No,
this is probably one of-
but the points that you're making with are all correct. I don't disagree with any of the points. So I
Exactly.
do think it's more of a me thing. I guess what it comes down to is that it gave me like a Disney TV show type of vibe at first.
Yeah.
It is a Disney TV
That's-
show though.
I,
I know it is.
a good character though,
It's
fitting into the
technically-
setting and the design they're going for, and the tone they're
Okay,
establishing.
Yeah, but I mean like a Disney Channel show. Like it
No,
reminded
I know what you mean.
you know what I mean, like a Disney.
It's a joke though. It's a
They're-
joke.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what they're going for secretly, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a secret.
They kind of want to draw off the millennial crowd. Like, hey, remember how this used to look? And then maybe that'll make us.
Jimmy in the introduction. I was talking too fast. I was too happy. Jimmy in the introduction was looking for that Disney Channel freaking introduction.
Well, I mean, obviously they reference Mulan, so they're obviously referencing millennials. Like that was our
exactly.
thing.
I feel like they're also trying to, you know, the crowd that, you know, they kind of have on the strings. Like, all right, come here, bring it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back
So
to-
one of the things about this that I was a little disappointed about in the very beginning was they were obviously going to be changing her powers and what she's able to do.
Yeah.
So in the original comics, she gains the ability to harness cosmic. Well, it differs because she gains the ability to harness cosmic energy, and she create constructs from that magical bangle. And it kind of feels a little similar to Green Lantern. Maybe that was the thing. Like I was like, this feels like Green Lantern-ish. But in the comics, she's able to shapeshift and has like those kind of abilities. But Kevin Feige had explained that she gets her powers actually through Inhumans, through a process called through the Terrigen Mist. She gets coded in it, and she actually has Inhuman blood in the comics. But Kevin Feige said that did not match with the timeline and events of the MCU. So her powers were adjusted to be related to her Pakistan heritage, which I thought was a cool change up because obviously it could hint and say that I think that the bangle could be Kree technology, it could be Inhuman technology, or maybe like her grandma was a Kree, was an Inhuman hiding out on Earth, and that was like the realm that we saw when the bangle first wrapped around her and she got coated in the cosmic energy. So
I mean,
maybe that was
it's obvious that her mom is trying to keep that bangle away from her for a
Yeah,
reason.
Yeah, her mom knows.
that right away too.
But also too, the mom had said that she comes from a line of daydreamers and fantasizers. That her mom was a daydreamer, and also too, I think that was a warning for her at the very end, where she says, "I see what an obsession with your fantasies can do to you." So I'm thinking maybe that's why she's trying to protect her because something.
Go ahead, no, finish your thought, and I'll go.
Because something tragic happened, so that's why she was also trying to make sure that the bangle wasn't close to her. But do you guys like this switch up from the comics, or is it something where you guys would have wished you had seen a little bit more of that comic accuracy?
Nah, I'm okay with the switch. I think it's fine. It makes more sense.
I'm okay with it as well. I just feel like they're trying to bring Mr. Fantastic in. So I feel like she has, I guess she's a shapeshifter, but I feel like, hey, if you show Kamala's original powers, it's basically seen like Mr. Fantastic, you know, when he can create his own little.
When I first saw her in comics, that's what I thought. I thought she was like maybe a Miss Fantastic or something.
Yeah, that's how I was like, maybe I feel like that's another reason why they changed it, because they know the Fantastic Four are coming. But like Adam said, I don't mind the change. They just changed it to cosmic powers, which is okay.
Yeah.
They might bring in the Cosmic Ghost Rider down the line.
I think it's probably the best decision, because I think with the context of like the story that they're trying to push forward and how she's kind of like discovering stuff about herself, I think the way that they changed it makes sense for this universe.
Yep.
So I don't think it's a problem. I think it works.
I think it's just my theory. They can make it more relatable to how, you know, the Black Panther got his powers, more like an ancestral thing, where, you know, he has to eat the flower and he has to wear the necklace, and she has to wear this thing, and she gets her, you know, her cosmic powers or her powers. I think that'd be a cool tie-in to let everyone know, because that, you know, even the afterlife is kind of all related to the universe that they use, right?
Yeah,
I think that'd be a cool kind of direction to go with that.
Also, I also just really like the symbology when we first see the Bengal, because obviously she's laying on the couch upside down, and the camera is also
Yeah,
positioned upside down.
that
But
was
then
crazy.
when she gazes upon the box, it turns right side up. Like that is going to be the answer to making her life fulfilled. So I
Yeah.
like those kind of little things. Like this also further goes to like the cinematography and a lot of the creativity with the show. A lot of that is really cool. And I don't know if you guys had noticed this, but where Avengers Con was held at, that was actually Camp Leahy, which was the facility that Cap was trained at. And the one that they go back to and that it gets destroyed in Winter Soldier by Zola, and then they also go back to in the past to get I think the cube, when they got the cube and they
Is that
got
what it is?
yeah, and then they got the print particles. That was actually, it was rebuilt and they turned that's Avengers Con. So that was pretty cool that they
That's
have
crazy.
like that could have just been some random place in Jersey City, but the fact that they connected it to the MCU lore,
And
I
that's
thought that was
what's
really
about
cool.
Marvel right now. They always have these little Easter eggs. You can like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's just
Another little cool
that
thing
make
I
it
noticed, like Bruno is such a good friend.
Yeah, he
Because
was.
in her little like visualization or her plan of how everything was gonna go the day at Avengers Con, he had like this awesome costume as Tony Stark, but when it actually happened, he just wore a lab coat and was like, "Oh, I'm Bruce Banner." So that meant that he's such a good friend. He spent so much time working on Kamala's Captain Marvel suit that he didn't work on his own. So we all need a friend like Bruno because he was willing to just go a lab coat and say, "Oh, this is my costume," and worked on making her costume as perfect as possible.
Maybe
So I
that's
thought that was really cool.
maybe a character thing they're gonna have in the show, Bruno and her. I don't know.
That could be
I
like
don't know much about her in the comics, but maybe that's like a love interest maybe.
possibly.
Yeah, it looks like a love interest for sure.
Yeah.
Puppy.
Something I had noticed too, because I was watching this episode on closed captioning, and when she asked about are those photon gloves, photon is capitalized, so that I'm wondering if that means that Monica is now officially known as Photon in the public. And also that would further hint at what's going to be happening with the Marvels. We know they're all going to team up. So what could that have just been something deliberate? Maybe it was a mistake. And the thing was the directors never officially confirmed it on what it means. They said they asked Kevin Feige, but they were dancing around. They were going, "Oh yeah, maybe, but oh no, maybe not." So what do you guys think? Is Monica known as?
It's deliberate, bro. It's deliberate. They did
Always
it on purpose.
deliberate.
She's like, "Oh, are they photon gloves?" Yes, they are. And sure enough, what did she lose in the restroom? The damn gloves. They're missing. Like, where are the gloves at? Oh, I lost them in the restroom.
I think it's totally
Let me go
deliberate.
again.
It's totally deliberate. They keep setting up a lot of Easter eggs for how the show is going to go in the future. So I really doubt that was an accident.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Brie Larson at the end of the season.
Hopefully not. I'm more interested in seeing Miss Marvel than Captain Marvel, which is kind of crazy. Maybe that was another reason I wasn't too hooked on this show in the very beginning. Maybe because I really don't like Captain Marvel in the MCU. Maybe it's just because I don't like Carol Danvers as a character. When you get into the comics and find how crappy of a person she is, that kind of doesn't really
you're
make
right.
you
But
excited for.
I'm saying since it's based off of her, since she's original, wouldn't be surprised if we see her at the end, and Photon. But I mean, we'll see.
Not only that, they're already coming out in Captain Marvel 2 together. That's already confirmed. So.
Yeah, so that's why I'm assuming that she has a show by the end of the season.
I'll tell you one
She's
thing.
gonna come out for control her powers or something.
I
She's
do
gonna be the
more
Tony
people-
Stark to her.
I do think more people are going to relate to Miss Marvel than Captain Marvel. I
For
really
sure.
think that she's going to be a more
for
popular character. She comes across as a little bit more likable, and she's closer.
Relatable for sure.
Relatable, yeah, and she's closer to what most fans are like. She's a lot closer to what most fans are like. There's kind of like, I don't know how to put it, like there's like this aloofness to Captain Marvel, like kind of like distance, like I don't know. It just seems like they're working harder to sell.
Well, the reason why
her as a
I'll go back to that daydreaming thing. A lot of people go to daydreaming. We were kids, teenage in high school. We were daydreaming about whether, like Adam, you like to wrestle, right? But you always like, I want to wrestle, you can't wrestle. Jimmy, you wanted to do what you want to do as a little kid. We were all daydreaming about wanting to do something, So whether it was to become something in the future or we were daydreaming about playing in the freaking playground for recess, like That's why I feel like she's the most relatable. But I think it opens it up more for the the little girls out there. Like, hey, you can be something too. Aside from Black Widow and Captain Marvel, because they're already older female. We understood Black Widow's background, so some girls could relate to her. We have strict parents, super strict parents. They have to grow up a certain way. But I feel a lot of girls, they could relate to for sure Miss Marvel way more than Captain Marvel. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I'm wondering too if it's going to be a common theme in this series about Kamala going or falling backwards. Obviously, we saw she floated in reverse on a driving test that caused her to fail. And then when the bangle wraps around her and she goes into that realm, her ancestral plane or her version of an ancestral plane, she falls backwards. And then the ending shot is her falling backwards, saying that she chooses this cosmic life. So I'm wondering if that's going to be a common theme too. Like every episode, we're going to see her like falling backwards or like going in reverse, because going backwards seems to be the right direction for her. So that's another little symbology thing I had noticed like right away. And what about that post-credit scene where the DODC, the Department of Damage Control agent P. Cleary, reprising his role from No Way Home, is here also, and after seeing footage of Kamala at Avengers Con, he says, hey, bring her in. But it kind of seems like he knows this technology or he's seen it before. So do you guys think I have a theory that he could be a Skrull, and that would also be something that would further indicate setting up Secret Invasion. What do you guys think is going to happen?
I'll tell you one thing. He didn't seem very surprised. It almost seemed
he didn't seem
very casual reaction. Oh, yeah, Jezza, bring her in. Like, it was very casual. There's no shock on. He didn't seem to register any shock or anything.
But that's what I'm saying, Nick. You're not wrong there. I feel this is going to lead into Secret Invasion, because from what I'm hearing is that the people have once that blip happened, the snap happened with Thanos, that's when the evil Skrulls took invasion of the some people that were missing.
That would make sense.
So, like the what's her name? Nick Fury and what's her name?
Maria Hill.
Maria Hill. Thank you, I appreciate that. And Maria Hill, when they disappeared, I hear that's not even the real Nick Fury and Maria Hill. It's Maria Hill. It's
that's kind of been brewing since No Way Home.
Far from home.
Far from home. Yeah. Far from home.
But that's what I'm saying, bro. So I feel like
that's what further indicates to me that the Bangle is either Kree or Inhuman in origin, because Fury also said in Far From Home that there are Kree sleeper cells. So I'm thinking maybe the Bangle could be one of those sleeper cells. So also it'd be cool, like obviously we know in the comics that the Kree create the Inhumans. So maybe it's saying that her grandma was an Inhuman who came to Earth, or maybe it was a Skrull who came to Earth, or Kree something. That could be further complementing the source material. But I'm hoping that she was an Inhuman who came to Earth, but I guess we'll see.
Maybe it'll introduce us to the Inhumans in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it with Black Bolt already. And I don't know if they said Inhumans. Did they call him an Inhuman in Multiverse of Madness?
I think he did. Yeah, he did.
Might have said leader of the Inhumans, but
yeah.
Overall, though, what do you guys rate this series out of 10?
So far, I like the episode. I'll give it about an 8.
Nice. What about you, Ruby?
I'm about to give it an 8 as well too so far.
Nice. What about you, Jimmy?
7.5 for now.
Cool. I gotta give it an 8. And as it's gotten closer, I think more so because She-Hulk. Also, that was the show I wasn't really thrilled for, and the more I've seen with this, and then obviously maybe it was just seeing the trailer, because obviously I love The Weeknd and Blinding Lights is an awesome freaking song. Knowing that it was also going to relate to the kind of demographic and a kind of teen perspective on a superhero show, I'm like, okay, that's a fitting. And then when I also thought about just all of the symbology that Blinding Lights had that I had discussed earlier before, a lot of that was just well done. Iman Vellani, who is the actress for Kamala Khan, totally knocked it out of the park. And even just a lot of her acting when she's daydreaming and fantasizing, a lot of that was just top notch and is not easy to do. So I thought she really
Oh yeah,
captured this character, her personality, who she is, her essence, her spirit. A lot of that feels very reminiscent of the character from the comics, which I really, really appreciate. So 8 out of 10 for me. I cannot wait to see more. This is going to be an awesome show. Can't wait to see what the future entails for this character. So with all that being said, that is all the time we have for today on the Heroes and Mutants podcast. Thank you so much to Adam for joining us today.
That's right.
Big shout out. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Heroes and Mutants podcast. We're going to be doing another giveaway. We were supposed to be waiting, but Ruben was feeling very, very generous. And he was like, I just want to do something for the fans because I love y'all. And I don't know what else he said, but you just said but he loves you guys. So there's that. And we're going to be posting that on Instagram sometime soon, and follow and see that for updates on how you guys are going to be able to win that or have a chance to. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, share with your friends, and tell everybody about us. Heroes and Mutants podcast signing off. Thank you guys so much.
See you guys.